is not whatever the internet. That internet is still charismated into
Oh, yeah. I saw that on the internet. Yeah.
Hey, Dad, you mentioned the Jewish prophets that wrote the books of the Bible. What about John?
That is, I don't know. Is the answer. All right. Here we go. Let's all straighten out.
Straighten up.
Let's all sit down. Come on, Ted. Bring your coffee around or whatever it is. Let's see if we can, Teresa. That's right, Teresa. Sit down there. There you go. Let's see if we can get Janelle to sit down there. Have a seat, Janelle. Yeah, that a girl. She's thinking about it, folks. All right. All right, Lisa. What are you doing, Lisa?
It's always your family that's yours.
Yeah. Every time. I want to tell you something, and I'm not going to record this. I just want to tell it to you. And I think I've told you this before. But this goes along with this business of you never really, if you say, well, I'm doing this, there are no results whatever. No one pays any attention. I'm not doing anything. And I said, you may be missing the point. That may be the very reason God's got you out there. You may be the very instrument of judgment that He is using. You probably, well, thank you, Lisa. Well, that's like manna from heaven. I didn't even ask for it. This guy needs some water. All right. John Ray told me one time. John Ray was Harry Ironside's, H.A. Ironside's cousin, incidentally. John Ray told me about, and I'm pretty sure it was Anthony Norris Groves, who back in the early part of the 19th century, fairly early, went down to what was then Persia, today would be Iran, as a missionary. And was down there for, 30, 40 years or something. And in that time, he saw something like 2 or 3 people saved. And someone said to him, well, brother, that must be pretty discouraging. You're down there preaching for 40 years and 3 people got saved. And Groves said, well, brother, the Lord didn't tell me to go down to Persia and see people be saved. All He said to me was, you go down there and preach the gospel, and I'll see you at the judgment seat. So there you are. Whatever the Lord's called you to do, you do it, and He'll see you at the judgment seat. The results are not up to you.
Right.
So just keep going down the road. All right. Let's see. We have, let me get this going again. I keep forgetting to turn it off. So at the end, I have people talking and all that. All right. We have got the eating of the roll, and let's go over and look at some other stuff in the times that we've got going here. And let's look, for example, I just want to show you something in verse 12, or chapter 12 rather, and then we're going to go back to an earlier chapter. So look at chapter 12 of Ezekiel, and we're going to read from verse 21 down through the end of the chapter. And once we read this, I think you will see right away the importance of it and how it is applicable to us today. Now let me just read it. The word of the Lord came unto me, saying, Son of man, what is that proverb that ye have in the land of Israel, saying, the days are prolonged, and every vision faileth? Tell them therefore, thus saith the Lord God, I will make this proverb cease, and they shall no more use it as a proverb in Israel, but say unto them, the days are at hand, and the effect of every vision. For there shall be no more any vain vision or flattering divination within the house of Israel. For I am the Lord. I will speak, then the word that I shall speak shall come to pass. It shall be no more prolonged, for in your days, O rebellious house, will I say the word and will perform it, saith the Lord God. Again the word of the Lord came to me, saying, Son of man, behold, they of the house of Israel say, the vision that he seeth is for many days to come, and he prophesieth of the times that are far off. Therefore say unto them, Thus saith the Lord God, there shall none of my words be prolonged any more, but the word which I have spoken shall be done, saith the Lord. All right. Interesting. All of my life, I've been running into people who've been saying the end of the world's coming. In 14th of April, 1935, Woody Guthrie was living out in Pampa, Texas, in Gray County, when the dust clouds rolled in. Of course, there had been other dust storms, but this one was the biggie. People that lived through it called it Black Sunday. You couldn't, in the house, you could turn the lights on, you couldn't see the lights. And people, the preachers in that day, and other people too, were saying it was the end of the world. It's the end of the world. In April of 1863, at the end of 3 days of slaughter at Shiloh, there were 23,000 men down. No one had seen anything like it in the history of the world up to that time. 23,000. Then people said, it's the end of the world. This is the end. It's here. Moving on back, you can just go back in time. When the plague hit in London and on the continent, the Black Plague and the bubonic plague, and when the 30 Years' War took place in Europe, something like half the population of Germany was wiped out in that one. And people said, it's the end of the world. We can't go. When Attila the Hun came in, and Tamerlane from the east, and piled human skulls up in mountains, people said, this is it. This is the locust of Revelation. It's the end of the world. But there is one big thing that they were all missing. There was something that hadn't happened that has to be present before the end can come. And that was the presence of the nation of Israel in Israel. Israel was not there. And without Israel in the land, there are too many things that must be fulfilled that cannot be fulfilled. With Israel back in the land, I personally don't know of anything that needs to be fulfilled. It's just a matter of God's timing. And once again, this is a reason why I feel certain that we are in the end days, that the end times are here. Now, particularly, and I want to go back and I want to read something in Psalm 83, and you will all know this one, I'm sure, but we're going to read about it again. And then I want to go back and I want to read something in Zechariah. And then we're going to come back to Ezekiel. Now here is the psalmist in Psalm 83. And I just want to read this to you. I'm going to read the whole psalm. Keep not thou silence, O God, and hold not thy peace, and be not still, O God, for lo, thine enemies make a tumult. And they that hate thee have lifted up the head. They have taken crafty counsel against thy people, and consulted against thy hidden ones. They have said, come and let us cut them off from being a nation. Now, when is the last time you heard that one? Have you heard that recently? Every time you turn around. in Iraq, in Palestine, threats, going to wipe them out, going to push them into the sea. Moving right along. Let us cut them off from being a nation, okay? That the name of Israel may be no more in remembrance. For they have consulted together with one consent. They are confederate against thee. Now let's look at some of these nations. And I won't get them all right. Some of you are probably better at this than I am. But the tabernacles of Edom. Here we're talking about probably the nation of Jordan. The Ishmaelites. No telling. I mean, they're all over the place over there, aren't they? Of Moab and the Hagarenes, Gabal, Ammon, and Amalek. The Philistines, the inhabitants of Tyre. Asher, that's Assyria, is also joined with them. They have hope in the children of Lot. Selah. Every one of those nations that were hating Israel and trying to destroy Israel back then are still out there and are still doing exactly the same thing. That's what they are doing this very day. They're surrounding them. Goes on here and says, do unto them as unto the Midianites, as to Sisera, as to Jabin at the brook of Kison, which perished at Endor. They became as dung for the earth. Make their nobles like Oreb and Zeeb. Yea, all their princes as Zebah and as Zalmunna, who said, let us take to ourselves the houses of God in possession. O my God, make them like a wheel, as the stubble before the wind, as the fire burneth a wood, and as the flame setteth the mountains on fire. So persecute them with thy tempest, and make them afraid with thy storm. Fill their faces with shame, that they may seek thy name, O Yahweh. That's what we have there. Let them be confounded and troubled forever. Yea, let them be put to shame and perish, that men may know that thou whose name alone is. Take a look at it. Not Allah. Not Sri Ramakrishna. Not. Just go down the list. The name is Yahweh, or we have it in our book here, Jehovah.